Okay, we're gonna work on the review. There is a test on Friday, quiz, whatever you want to call it. You can use the half sheet that I'm giving you as a cheat sheet. Okay, you should fill that out. So the topics covered in this quiz are standard form and then parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, so we talked about a few different ways to solve problems like these. So I'll try to do a couple different ways, and remember, you choose the one that makes sense to you. So one of them would be to find the x and y intercept, and that's one of the things you have to do anyway. So I'm going to plug in 0 for y. Sorry, 0 for x. I'm going to say 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 12. Okay, and that's 0. And then I'm going to solve for y, and I get negative 4. And then I'm going to do the same thing and plug in 0 for y. So I'll try to show my work over here. 2x, plug in 0 for y. 2x equals 12. And I get x equals 6. And I'll put that here. Oops, I forgot my negative sign here. All right, and so we can graph these. So 0 over, oh, and look, these fit right here. So I can plop those right down into here now that we found them. So that makes that part really, really easy. And I already put the 0 there for you, so you'll know which one goes where. So the y-intercept is negative 4, 2, 3, 4. And the x-intercept is 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can draw the line. And then if you were super accurate, drawing your line, you could just count the slope, right? So you could go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 6, up 4 over 6. Okay, and then you might reduce that to 2/3. Okay, another way might just be to solve this and say 2x minus 3y equals 12 and put it into mx plus b form. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides because I'm trying to get y by itself. And divide everything by negative 3. So I get y equals negative 4. And then this is a negative divided by a negative, so I get plus 2/3 x. So if I was going to graph that one, I would start here at negative 4, up 2 over 3, make a dot, up 2 over 3, make a dot. So to find my x and y intercept then, I would need to look at the graph, right? Okay, so that's how I do that, and I found my slope here, and I got 2/3 again. So again, whichever way makes more sense to you, if it's making a table or using algebra, do which one makes the most sense to you. Okay, so I'm going to make a table because that's what I like to do, because then I have some of my answers already. So when I plug it in, this turns to 0. So I get y equals negative 2 here. And then do it again. Plug in 0 for y. And this turns to 0, so I get 2x equals 14. And then I divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 7. So now I can write those right down here. That's super easy for me. Okay, and then I can find these on here. Draw the line, trying to be straight. And then I can count between my dots up 2 over 7. Up 2 over 7. Okay? All right, so one more I'm going to graph for you. I'm going to make the table. If you like algebra, you do this with the algebra. When I plug in 0 for 4, I'm not going to show my work on this one. Sorry, 0 for x, and then when I plug in 0 for y, okay, so again, I didn't show my work. If you don't know where those numbers came from, then you should show your work. I would graph, oops, sorry, I was graphing the wrong one. And x-intercept at -6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I would graph my lines. Oh, I wrote -6 and I mean +6. I was wondering why I did that wrong. +6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I can graph my line. I can count my slope going down 8 over 6, which is the same as -4/3. Or again, you can use algebra to get the same answer. So next is parallel and perpendicular lines. And so we wrote these in our notes and we talked about the slopes of parallel lines. They have slopes that are the same. They are equal or the same, however you want to say it. Okay? And perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite and reciprocal. So we flip the sign. This means change the positive and negative sign to the other one, and reciprocal means flip the fraction. Okay, so now we're going to look at this and it says identify the slope for each line. So when I'm looking at this one, this is our favorite, right? Mx plus b. I can see my slope is this number right here next to x. But when I look at the next one here, I'm in standard form. So this was slope intercept form. That was supposed to be an S. Let's try that again. Slope intercept form. This one's in that standard form. So we're going to use algebra. I'll show my work off to the side because I need to find the slope. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Okay, divide everything by 7. So what I have is -5x over 7 plus 5. So this one also has a slope of -5/7 because the slopes are the same sign and the same fraction. Those lines are parallel. Okay, we'll do this again. Over here, this one is in point slope form. So the slope is this one right here, +2/3. Okay, I'll try to show my work down here. This one's in standard form again. Okay, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I'm going to divide everything by -2, which means my equation is y equals -6 minus 3/2 x. So the slope of this one, oops, it'll be positive, made that mistake, +3/2. These are opposites, not opposites, these are reciprocals of each other. So it's kind of like tricks you, right? They're reciprocals, but they are both positive. So these are a neither, okay, because they don't have anything, they don't have opposite signs. Okay, for this 7 and 8, hopefully you'll get out your little sticky note that we wrote about our steps. So we're going to read this and it says we want a line that's parallel. Okay, so parallel on our sticky note said, the first step was to find the slope. So step 1 was to find the slope. And that's 3/5. I can see that right here. Okay. Step 2 was to write the equation using this. This would be a good thing to write down on your little cheat sheet that I'm going to give you. And I'm going to use this point here. Okay, the one that's right here. So I'm going to plug that in. So y minus 11, remember we changed the signs. Our slope stays the same as 3/5 from step 1. and then x plus 15. Okay? Step 3 was to take what you've written down and use algebra to change it into slope-intercept form. Okay? So 3/5 x plus, and remember in your calculator, you're going to type in 3, divide by 5 times 15, and you're going to get 9. Add 11 to both sides. And my final answer here is 3/5 x plus 20. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to do perpendicular. Perpendicular had 4 steps. Step 1 was to identify the slope. Okay, so I'm looking right here. The slope of this line is 3/4. Okay, step 2 is to flip it and find your new slope and switch the sign. So -4/3 is my new slope. Okay, I'm going to use this again with my new slope here, and then this point that I gave you right here. So in step 3, I'm going to plug that in. Y minus 7 equals -4/3 x plus 12. Okay, and then step 4 is to turn this into mx plus b form. So y minus 7 equals -4/3 x. I think you get minus 16. And I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And my final answer will be -4/3 x minus 9. Okay, now I've got a couple practice problems for
do something together.
For word problems. Okay. I think maybe actually if you're watching this video, I'm not going to do number 9 for you. Number 9 could be like an extra credit type problem. Okay. But I will do number 10. So the hot tub is emptying. Oh, I know right away that I'm going to have a negative slope, right? Because it's going away. So she has a 300-gallon hot tub and it empties at a rate of 20 gallons per minute. So I told you guys, even though there's no table, start with a table because that's what makes most sense to me. Okay? Before she starts draining it, she has 300, right? 300 gallons in her hot tub. This helps me though, because now I know X is the time or the minute, right? Minutes. And then Y is the gallons left in the hot tub. Okay? After 1 minute, I take away 20 gallons because it empties at 20 gallons per minute, so I have 280. And at 2, I take away another 20 gallons, so I'd be at 240. So my slope in this situation, I can see, is -20. And my y-intercept, I can look at my table and see that it's 300. So when I'm asked to write the equation, I can write y equals -20x plus 300. And then I want to know how many after 8 minutes. So I'm going to plug 8 into my equation. -20 times 8 plus 300. This is -160 plus 300. And I think that leaves me with 140 gallons. Okay? For this last one, we've been practicing them like this too. Okay, I've got this graph that shows Mr. Bannett paying to go to Lifetime Gym for the course of the year. So when I look at this, I can see the first point that's labeled on there for me is, 0.50. Okay, so I see that one on there. And then I see 6 and 500. And then I could probably find another one for myself, 10 and 800, it looks like. Oops, I didn't write that. I wrote 5 instead of 50. Okay, and so I'm going to just take these two here and see if I can find the slope. This is plus 450, and this is plus 6. So when I find my slope, I'm going to do 450 divided by 6, and I can do that in my calculator. And when I do that, I get 75. Okay? The X and the Y are down there for you, right? The X, it says months, and the Y says the cost of membership. Okay? What does the slope mean? Remember, it means that each month, so we're going to say 1x, right? Each 1 month, Mr. Bannett, and I always spell his name wrong, 1 N, 2 T's. Mr. Bannett pays how much more? Well, our slope is $75 more. And I can find my equation. I have B right here in my table. Y equals 75x plus 50. Okay, these are the topics on the review for the test on Friday.